Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our office hours. This is our August version, and on this version, we do have Nick Freiling. He's our director from Insights Hub. We will go over AI, the functionalities, how to best use it, also our Insight AI tool, how to use that as well. And welcome. I'll let you, Nick, take it away from here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, good to be with you today. I think we're across time zones. But yeah, AI is a big topic in Insights. I was just talking to Jesus before this webinar, and I was like, everyone's already seen GPT, but he reminded me it's actually not true. It's a new tool. I mean, I think what was it, this year came out? Like, I think it was earlier this year. Which for some of us that use it all the time, I mean, it's already gone through some evolutions. It's a lot better than it was like in January. I don't know if you've noticed that, Jesus. I think other people have noticed like it's still, there's still issues with the writing. There's still issues with some things, but it's gotten a lot better. So yeah, anyways, today we're going to walk through a little bit of how AI is changing the way we do things here at QuestionPro, and then changing the way that I think the insights industry is doing things in general. So I'll share my screen here, and I'm going to start on the ChatGPT UI or interface. Again, I think, and Jesus reminded me, not everyone has seen that. Not everybody uses that, but it's a pretty powerful tool. Let's make sure we're all, you can see that, Jesus?
Yeah, I can see that.
Awesome. So yeah, anyways, this is ChatGPT. And again, some of you probably use it every day. Others of you maybe haven't used it yet before. Maybe it's intimidating. There's a lot you can do with this. But when you log on, it looks like this. It's pretty blank. And so there's not a lot of instruction. They don't have pre-written prompts for you, but AI is really prompt based. It's based around the questions you ask, or really the tasks that you give it to do for you. So, if I said, write an email to a lead out signing up for our product subscription, whatever it is, it's going to do that. You might not like what it outputs. At the very least, in my experience, 99% of the time, it puts out something that I can work with. Sometimes I'll have to edit it. Sometimes I'll have to correct it. Every once in a while, I'll find some fact thrown in there that just isn't really relevant. Maybe you've seen that too, Jesus.
Yeah,
But
doesn't actually really like matches where you're asking at the first time. So you need to actually ask multiple questions to it, be a
yes,
little, play around with it, play with the prompts you give it.
yeah. Even when you give it one prompt and then you just say, I mean, I've even said like, can you redo that in a different way? It'll come up with something else. Then I'll like combine the two answers into one thing. So yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a trial and error process, but it's really powerful, as you can see. And again, you may know this. This may be old news to some of you. What concerns us, Jesus, myself, and the Question Pro team is, how does this work with insights? How does this work for insights teams, for market research teams, for researchers, and then also even for developers, vendors or market research software providers like what Question Pro is. And so to kind of get a sense of what that looks like, if I type in here, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, write a survey gauging my employees' response or feelings about a new retirement product we might offer as part of our corporate benefits. So it's a big ask. It's not an easy question for GPT to answer, but it's quick. And so, okay, so here it's giving an introduction. It's giving kind of an email, which I didn't ask for. Probably won't use that, but I might. But now it's writing survey questions about this exact topic. It's not just the questions. It's also giving me the answer options in a nice kind of Likert scale format in a lot of these. You can see this one here. It's yes, definitely, yes, maybe, or no. Now let's take a look at these questions. So I actually worked at a research agency before coming to Question Pro. So I have a lot of experience writing survey questions. And by and large, these always look really, really good. They avoid kind of the things that we on the research side look for, like we call double barreling, or just kind of ambiguous or confusing questions that leave respondents with like two correct answers when they're only allowed to select one. But these are always written pretty well. I think GPT understands what a survey is, and how to write one that avoids kind of those common pitfalls. So on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not interested, so it defines the terms for you, 5 being extremely interested, how interested are you in a new retirement product as part of our corporate benefits? So right off the bat, that question is going to be valuable for like an HR manager. Um, it's if nobody's interested, maybe you don't even need to continue reading through the rest of the report. But let's move on here. So what features or benefits would you consider most important in a new retirement product? This is a list that I couldn't have come up with as quickly as this. I probably wouldn't have come up with this exact list on my own without looking it up. So that's where I think you can save a lot of time in conducting your conducting, but in drafting your surveys, and then ultimately in conducting your research. Like it even is, this is correct. Like select all that apply. That's the correct answer option for this kind of question, because people probably don't have just one thing that they think is most important. So by and large, all of these questions are going to be very well written. Like Jesus said, if you kind of take another approach, and I could say, do that again with different questions, or I could say, do that again, but keep in mind that my employees are generally satisfied with the benefits we already have. So it's going to draft a different survey, a little bit different questions, and especially that initial email is probably going to be pretty different as well. So I think this stuff is interesting. It's a trial and error. It's different angles, and accounting for nuances about, in this case, my company, in the questions themselves. So anyways, I hope that kind of makes sense how that works. Anything stick out to you, Jesus? Any other thoughts on using this platform to design a questionnaire?
Not really. I mean, you basically covered how to actually make the prompt. So I think that's pretty useful
Mhm.
for everyone. As you can see, ChatGPT actually gives you like different, it can actually give you different variants. So I would definitely
Yeah.
also suggest that as well. Like for example,
Hmm.
when I'm doing a survey, I kind of want to lay out three different variants for that, and I think that's also helpful to do like A/B testing for surveys or.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, AB, it's like built-in A/B testing. You can even say, give me two versions in the first prompt. So yeah, exactly. Um, So now let's say you work at an HR team, or you work on, let's say the research team maybe has pulled you in to design this survey to field it to your employees about a new retirement product or whatever it is. So you've used GPT to kind of get started. You might want to make some edits in here. You might not. You might like this. Um, Now, how do you get this into a survey platform? So there's two ways to do that. Number one is very simply just to copy and paste it over into a survey instrument. So I have QuestionPro surveys open here. I'm going to click new survey, test survey, see what happens. It's a blank survey. So obviously, if I wanted to, I could maybe download this. I could copy and paste it into a Word doc, and then use that to copy and paste the questions into Question Pro. I guess I could copy and paste them right from GPT too. But that goes question by question. Now, I have done that sometimes when I feel like I need to go over these in more detail. I can't just paste them as is. And I don't really want to do it on this view. I want to like put it in Question Pro and then work on it over there, just because that's how it's going to look to the respondent. I'm really used to that platform. So, I'll copy and paste. I can copy that here, add question. I pick the question type. It was a select one, paste it in here. It's going to reformat it so it'll be nice and clean. It won't carry over any of the text decoration. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the answer options. See what happens if I paste that in that way. I think I'll do bulk edit, delete those two sample answers. Okay, so there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, Copy and paste, simple enough. I think anyone is probably capable of that. The second way, though, to do this, and the more efficient way that I've seen a few, not many, but a few of the better uh, vendors, the better product survey products do, is to work um, the AI engine into the platform itself. So I'm going to go back here to surveys. And so this is, of course, the survey we just generated. Now, I want to try this again, but I want to do it inside of Question Pro. So test survey 2. create survey. Now let's see what happens here. So blank survey. No, Jesus, be honest, have you used this button yet right here, build with QXBot?
Actually, no. Fun
Not
fact,
yet.
for me, it was kind of hard at first to use it. Of course, I did it for testing purposes.
Right.
That's part of my role as a survey specialist.
hmm
But yeah, no. Fun fact, it was kind of hard to find it. But now that you're bringing that up, I think it's gonna be
Yes.
helpful for our audience, definitely.
Yeah, I think over time what you'll see is like you said, right now it's this is what people are used to, like add question, big, blue bold right in the middle. This build with QX bot, it's right underneath, but it's really powerful. And just like what you said about GPT, it does. I think it takes some trial and error. So I'm going to try that here, build with QX bot. And what this does is it's taken really a lot of the technology behind ChatGPT and put it into the back end of the Question Pro platform. So let's see, what was the prompt that I used over here? I said the first one, it was write a survey gauging my employees' response or feelings about a new retirement product we might offer as part of our corporate benefits. So I'm going to take that same thing here, paste it in here, and see what happens. There's one option here to include demographic questions. I'll go ahead and check that. That's kind of nice because I forgot to do that over here. But being, built into the Question Pro platform, that's something that we think of because a lot of our users do that. They add demographics. So let's see what happens. Click this little go button. Okay, there are the demographics. See, what is your age? What is your gender? Race, ethnicity. All right, still working. So you can see it's doing the same thing. It's just putting these are actual survey questions, and I'll show you in a minute how that works. So still
Also, you
working.
can actually, they're already built in the platform, correct?
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. Just the check of a button kind of puts them over there. So here you go. How interested are you in learning more about a new retirement product might offer? What is your age? So that's a demographic. What are your primary retirement savings vehicles? So these are questions that are a little different. I think that I think that basically every time you ask GPT, it's going to come up with something a little different. I think this is the same. It'll come up with something a little different every time, maybe just a different order. But it's the same thing. And without copy and pasting this over, this is what is it? A 21 question survey pre-built into Question Pro. Now, what do I mean pre-built? So I'm going to check all questions. Now, and then I'm going to go through and make sure that I actually want to pull all of these questions over. Let's say maybe for this case, I'm not interested in race, ethnicity. It's really not relevant. These are just my employees, whoever they are, and education. I'm not interested. They're my employees, and I know who they are. Marital status, maybe that matters for benefits. Um, Income range, maybe I'll uncheck that too. So add 18 questions. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, there you go. No copy paste. Question 18 at the bottom. That's 18 questions pre-built
Nice.
inside of Question Pro. So this process, like I started working in this survey space about 10 years ago. This would have taken me maybe if I was really working, like half an hour to find good questions. Probably more than that, because then I have to program them and then I have to test them and make sure I wrote everything correctly. In this case, there's not going to be like a typo. You're not going to misspell, a word. It's pulling right from the dictionary. So this, let's say, would have taken me an hour if I was really, really working. I think this took me like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and surveys here. So
Approximately.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So very, very powerful feature. We see on the back end that some people are making a lot of use of this. And I can't imagine the kind of benefits that they're gaining in terms of just time, resources, but also things like, and it's kind of a recurring issue in survey design is like, you might, a lot of times we program a survey as a research team and there are errors in it, or there's like typos, or like, this says very interested. Maybe this also says very interested. Jesus, you can imagine, probably happens a lot. You work in marketing, proofreading is something you guys probably do every day. And
100%.
um, yeah, and so this, you don't really have to do that. I mean, if you want, you can check its spelling. It's probably going to spell better than you and I do. So
Totally.
probably it's best just to not change it. If you think it's wrong, it's probably right. But that's it, and it's ready to go. Now, a few other steps, and again, this might be pretty basic for those of you who use Question Pro a lot. But if I want to require all of these questions at once, I'm going to click Tools, Review Mode. It'll give me the option to select all, and then add forced validation. So right there you go. Every question is required. Respondents have to answer each question before they move on. That's what this little red asterisk is about. So, as far as walking through the mechanics, Jesus, do you think I missed anything? There's something else I want to discuss after this, but any questions you had kind of while watching this?
Yeah, please drop us any questions that you might have while watching this. Anything AI related or anything that we might not have covered with the AI tool of Question Pro. Please
Hmm.
just hit us with any questions.
Yeah, yeah. Leave them in the comments. We'll see them. Um, the next thing I want to do quickly here is talk about kind of the pros and cons of using an AI tool to um, create surveys. So when I said before, so I'm going to go back to the Chat GPT interface. When I said, like, one of the options here is, of course, you can just copy and paste the questions over. I do find that, as kind of having a research background, I find that helpful sometimes, because then I like, if I go slowly, I understand what the survey is about, and I pick up on really small things that, maybe the AI tool isn't going to think about, or if it even, if we use the word think, whatever it does. But I'm going to notice things that, because of the flow of the survey, because I'm taking it as a, I'm pretending as I program it that I'm a consumer. Do I understand this? Is it weird to have this question come after this question? Or there might be issues of, like, confidentiality, where you've asked for somebody's income, you've asked for their gender, you've asked for their age. Well, now all of a sudden your company probably can figure out, who you are based on how you answer these questions. So it is useful in my experience, and technology might change this in the future. But to go through each question kind of one by one. So I still use the QXBot tool. I think it saves an incredible amount of time, and it gets rid of very basic problems like typos or like backwards scales or whatever. But I still go through this one by one. I read the question back to myself, and I often kind of rewrite things a little bit, especially if I feel like maybe this tone is too formal for the audience, or maybe we don't really use the word corporate benefits. Maybe we call it, wellness plan or whatever it is, just to make sure it's all kind of, on tone with brand. Jesus' team works a lot with brand, and you don't want to, like, use terminology that your respondents are not at all familiar with.
Or they're not gonna understand it, or actually you want to make it as as human as possible, so that you know you get the right answers. Also, the questions make
Yes.
sense for you.
Yeah, as human as possible. Exactly. That's a word I use a lot. Is these are humans responding. Make the questions human questions. So yeah, 100%. So it's one of the. It's, I'm not going to call it a shortcoming of the AI survey creation. It's a way to get you moving like 95% faster, but it doesn't, like, fill in that last 5% gap, like Jesus said. Human respondents, human questions. It takes a human to make sure that that happens. So I still go through this question by question. I don't have to look anymore for typos or misspellings, but I can think about, is this question make sense coming before this question, or, are these answer options, maybe they're in a strange order, and maybe I know that at my company, this is really big for people. So I'm going to put this one, tax considerations, like at the top of the survey, something like that, or at the top of the answer options. So you can still edit these questions as if you wrote them on your own. There's nothing unique about these questions because they were AI generated. The way that you engage with them, you can change the type, radio button, checkbox. They're still just regular questions, like pretend like you wrote them yourself. There's nothing different about them compared to if you had written them yourself. So just something to keep in mind if you're like a Question Pro Power user, if you've been using this platform for a really long time. This is not, it's nothing changes. It's just a new tool. If you want to save 95% of your time programming a survey, this is how you do it. And sometimes I'll go through, and by the time I'm done, the survey looks completely different than what QXBot programmed. And that's fine. It still saved me time. Maybe I just moved stuff around. I changed the words. I got rid of some questions. I thought of other questions to add. So either way, it's a time saver. I'm going to actually go back and try a few more things here. So test survey number 3. While I'm doing that, are there any questions, Jesus, that you can see?
No questions whatsoever. But yeah, please drop us any questions that you might have while we're streaming. I mean, AI, it's a vast field.
Yes.
So ask us away. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can learn from this office hours.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And on that point too, being a vast field, I think that there are certain industries, like for us, at least for me, GPT is new. Like using generative AI to write content is a pretty new thing. I've worked with companies before, though, like even like 5 years ago, like they were using what they called AI, as part of their logistics kind of monitoring tool, or using AI to identify, price opportunities to buy stocks at a lower price. So that kind of AI has been around for a while. What I want to make sure people understand is like this AI that I'm showing you is very accessible. Like it's not something that you have to know like how machine learning works. I have no idea how machine learning works, but I use these AI tools all the time. And yeah, as you can see here, it's QuestionPro's generative AI tool designed to help you build surveys on any topic you can imagine within seconds. So it's not, you don't have to have a degree to figure this out. You don't have to really even understand exactly how it's working. And like Jesus said before, trial and error is the best way to kind of get a sense of what prompts you can have, how it's going to return answers, what it's going to say. So I'm going to try another one here. I'm going to say a survey about returning to college, because I've had some friends, some people I know have gone back to school this week.
Yes, the
Returning to
season.
college, yeah, exactly. The move-in process and whether students like it. So let's see what happens there. I'll just leave this unchecked for now. So no demographics, so it's not going to write those out right away. It's just thinking. See what happens. So this prompt was a little smaller, a little more open-ended. I guess I said move-in process, but beyond that, I'm kind of interested to see like what specific questions it asks that maybe I wouldn't have thought of. Still going. Must be a long survey.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sometimes when you ask, like, it could be like a hard prompt, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
Hmm.
if you make it think more human, it will drop you
Yeah.
like more complex questions, definitely.
Yes, exactly. Okay, there we go. Do you think college move-in day was successful? What do you think would make college move-in day more successful? What aspects of the college move-in process do you think should be improved? So yeah, these look great. I mean, these are great questions. You can change the question type here on this view, which I didn't show before. So if you think you only want people to give one answer to this question, which aspects of the move-in process should be improved? It's just easier to analyze the data maybe, because maybe people will select all five of these. If you say select one, you'll get like, the one thing that you can fix for next year. So that's how it goes. I'm going to check all questions, add them all to the survey, and they're going to show up here as if I had wrote them again. So nothing different. Now they're in here. You can edit them, slice them, dice them the way you would do with any kind of traditional survey you've ever built on Question Pro. I want to try one more thing here. I want to see if I can make a really tough prompt and
That
see
would
what it
be,
comes up
yeah,
with.
totally.
I'm not going to try and break it per se, but we'll see what happens.
Let's see if it breaks.
Break Question Pro, yeah. Probably the devs wouldn't like that. Okay, so let's see here. Build with QX Plus. So again, when you open the survey, the way you do this is you open up a new survey, title it whatever you want, and this button shows up inside that new survey. So if you're looking for that before you created a survey, I don't think it's anywhere else, but this is how I access it. So I'm going to say a survey about employee. Wait, that's still too specific. A survey of my employees. Very, very broad, very open-ended. Let's see what happens. I'm going to see if it's going to like, maybe it's going to assume I mean satisfaction, um, demographic. I would probably read this and think, okay, maybe they just want to know who are my employees, like their age, gender, etc. So we'll see what happens with this. Okay. Do you like your job? Yes or no? Select your strengths. Sufficient recognition for your work. Got a good open-ended question here. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I mean, this. I'm surprised. It is broad, but I mean, some of this, like if you're a business owner or a manager of any kind, these might not be questions you've asked yet, and maybe you should take the opportunity, use the tool, just to give you ideas. Like maybe you're really only interested in this
Totally.
one, and this one. Add three questions. There you go. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me try one more here. I'm going to do something that's really, really specific.
Yeah,
Test survey 5. What's a topic here we can ask it to?
Mm,
Maybe something that draws on like
something about finance, it could be.
yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so I'll make it really tough. Actually, finance. Maybe we can see if it kind of can pull in knowledge from outside. So, um, a survey about stock picks in the year 2022. See what happens. I have no idea. I've never tried something like this before. Seems like it would have to have some knowledge about that before it was able to write up questions. And while we're waiting on that, I've seen people use surveys as almost like a marketing tool, like, test your knowledge, or, how much do you know about this topic? Maybe you know a lot, maybe you know a little, and then kind of, ease into a way to kind of promote whatever it is you have to offer. So here we go. Which sector will outperform in 2022? Well, we'd already know because 2022 is over. So this is looking for opinions on stock picks. Which
Let's
asset class will perform best? Okay, so interesting how it interpreted that. It took it as gathering data on what people think is going to happen. I was wondering if it was going to come back and say things like,
with information on 2022 total.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So if I just kind of delete, let me do this. All questions. I wonder if I can delete these. I can't remember. It doesn't look like it. So this
I think you
here,
can just come up with another prompt. If I'm not
okay, so let
mistaken.
me try that then. And is it going to show up here maybe? Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, I haven't even done that yet. I kind of start fresh every time. Or usually it gives me good enough questions that I use what it has and then I'll just tweak them. So um, find out which movie is people's favorite. Another big, broad survey. Okay, so it saves it here, same window, same view. And I think it's going to save your history here. I think that's what this icon means. Yeah, so there you go. Find out which movie is people's favorite. Hmm. What other movies do people like? So this prompt I think was unreasonably open ended. It didn't really know what to do with that, and I get it because
I think that's
who's what were you saying? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. But yeah, which movies people say? Who is people? Which movies? Which kind of movies? So, anyways, that's kind of how this works. It's a powerful tool, and like I said, it saves you like 95% of the time it would normally take to draft a survey. Any questions yet, Jesus? Want to make sure we leave time to cover that. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I don't see any questions in the question in the comments, questions or comments. But if there are questions, we'll go back and check on YouTube, on LinkedIn, everywhere that this is streamed. I'm happy to, Jesus or I are happy to personally answer those. Yeah, and we'll see what happens. But thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. Reach out with any questions.
Sorry about that. It seems that we had a technical issue right there, but we're about to. Um, Sorry about that. Hey, dropped. Fantastic. So I think Nick helped us with the wrap up, but thank you very much for joining this AI office hours. Yeah, we had that small little technical issue, but thank you for joining. Please drop us any questions, leave us your comments and likes, and hope to see you in the next version. Thank you, and have a great and awesome day.